I want you to try and hold a number in your head for a second. It's a number that feels, well, completely abstract, like looking at the distance to a star or something.
Right.
And the number is 1 million. Now, take your current brain, your ability to understand a joke, to drive a car, to appreciate a sunset, or just follow a complex argument. Take all of that processing power and multiply it by that number. 1 million times smarter.
It's a scale of intelligence that we literally don't have the language to describe yet. It's almost like an ant trying to understand quantum physics.
Exactly. And usually when we hear numbers like that, we immediately think of science fiction. You know, we think of Isaac Asimov or Star Trek.
Yeah, totally.
But we aren't talking about a sci-fi novel today. We are looking at a very specific, data-driven prediction for the year 2045. And the man making the prediction, Ray Kurzweil, is arguing that this isn't just possible, it's inevitable.
Inevitable is a strong word, but when you look at the curves he's plotting in his 2024 book, The Singularity is Nearer, it's really hard to argue that we aren't at least on the path.
Which is exactly what we're going to deep dive into today.
Yeah.
We're going to unpack exactly how this intelligence boost is supposed to happen, the timeline leading up to it, and what it actually means for life, death, and just being human.
It's a massive topic.
It is. And I'll be honest, when I first read this, it sounded completely unhinged.
Well, sure, it sounds like pure fiction. But the thing you have to remember is that this timeline was set decades ago, and right now it is tracking almost perfectly.
So before we get to the nanobots, and yes, we are absolutely going to talk about the robots he thinks will be swimming in your blood, we need to establish why anyone actually listens to Ray Kurzweil. Because if I just stood on a street corner and said, hey, in 20 years you'll be a digital god, people would just walk faster.
Yeah, they'd avoid eye contact. Context is everything here. Ray Kurzweil isn't just a futurist who makes, vague horoscopes about the future. He's an American computer engineer.
A highly successful one.
Very. He invented the first flatbed scanner, the first omnifont optical character recognition, the first print-to-speech reading machine for the blind. He works in the absolute trenches of hardware and software.
So he really understands the physical limitations of the stuff we're building.
Exactly. And because of that, he focuses on exponential growth. Most of us think linearly. If you take 30 steps linearly, you get to 30. But if you take 30 steps exponentially, 2, 4, 8, 16, you get to 1 billion.
You circle the Earth 26 times.
Right. Kurzweil lives in that exponential math, which is what brings us back to his track record, specifically 1999.
Yeah, 1999. I mean, I was just worried about Y2K crashing my family's desktop computer.
We all were. But Kurzweil was predicting the singularity the moment humans and machines merge. And he said that by the year 2029, we would achieve artificial general intelligence, or AGI.
And AGI, just to be clear, that's
the moment a computer can essentially do any cognitive task a human can do. He predicted it would happen when tech hits 1 trillion calculations per second. He pinned the date to 2029.
And people completely scoffed at this.
Oh, they laughed him out of the room. The consensus among experts back then was that AGI was 100 years away. Maybe more.
But 2029 is literally staring us in the face now.
And nobody is laughing anymore. With 2029 just a few years away, the prediction is really gaining traction. We're seeing this massive widening of the conversation around what he calls the age intensity gap.
The age intensity gap, I really want to touch on that because the book title itself is actually a play on this shrinking timeline, right?
Yeah, it's a great little nod. His famous 2005 book was called The Singularity is Near. So this 2024 book is The Singularity is Nearer.
Because the gap is closing.
Exactly. The speed of technological paradigm shifts is accelerating so fast that the future is rushing at us quicker than we can process it.
Okay, so that brings us to the actual mechanism. Because getting to AGI in 2029 is one thing. That's a really smart machine outside of me. But moving from that to 2045, where I am 1 million times smarter, how does that actually work physically?
This is where we get into the brain interfaces. Kurzweil describes a system formed by nanobots.
Nanobots, so microscopic robot.
Microscopic. And inserted completely non-invasively, they would go straight into our capillaries.
Into our bloodstream.
Right. They flow through the bloodstream, cross the blood-brain barrier, and basically establish a direct wireless connection between your neocortex, the part of your brain that does the heavy lifting for thinking, and the cloud.
I mean, just hearing that makes my heart rate go up a little bit.
It's radical. But he did this interview with The Guardian where he clarified the result of this. He said, "We become a combination of natural and cybernetic intelligence."
A hybrid.
A true hybrid. And it's crucial to understand it's not just about computing speed. It's not just about doing math faster. It's about deepening human consciousness and perception.
Deepening it how? Like feeling more?
Yeah. Deeper emotions, more complex forms of art and humor. It's expanding the actual capacity of what you can experience.
That's fascinating. And he's actually not alone in this hybrid future idea, is he? The source material brought in a couple of heavy hitters from Oxford.
Yes, Marcus du Sautoy and Nick Bostrom. Their perspectives from July of 2024 really back this up. Du Sautoy argues that this hybrid future is basically inevitable.
He used a really specific analogy that stuck with me. He called it our Copernican journey.
That's such a brilliant way to phrase it.
Yeah, because Copernicus was the one who realized, hey, the Earth isn't the center of the universe.
We aren't the unique focal point of everything.
Right. And du Sautoy is saying we're doing the exact same thing right now with consciousness. We're realizing that human biological intelligence isn't the absolute center of the universe. We aren't unique in that way anymore.
It's a huge blow to our collective ego, but it's also a massive expansion of our potential.
But let's look at the practical side of this brave new world. Let's say it's 2045. We're all hybrids. We have cloud-connected neocortices. What on earth happens to society? What happens to going to work on a Tuesday?
Well, the nature of work completely shatters. If you have an AI or a human-AI hybrid that can do absolutely any job better and faster than a purely biological human, traditional employment doesn't make sense anymore.
Right. So how do people buy food? How do they pay rent?
This brings up universal basic income, or UBI. Now, usually when we hear about UBI, it's a very politically charged topic. It's debated heavily on the left and the right.
Yeah, it's a huge talking point right now.
But the sources are clear that Kurzweil doesn't view UBI as a political fringe idea or taking a political side. He views it simply as an economic and mechanical necessity.
An absolute requirement to keep society functioning.
Exactly. When AI brings the cost of producing goods and services down to practically zero, the traditional economy breaks. You have to have UBI just to maintain a baseline functioning society in that landscape. We are just reporting his view on this, of course, not endorsing a political stance.
Right. It's an engineering solution to an economic problem.
Right.
But as wild as the economy changing is, there's another part of this prediction that gave me an absolute literal chill when I read it.
I think I know what you're going to say.
Longevity, escape velocity.
Oh, yeah. That is the true mind-bender of the book.
Okay, so break this down for us. What is the timeline for this, first of all?
Kurzweil predicts we will reach longevity escape velocity by the early 2030s.
The early 2030s. That is right around the corner. So what exactly does that mean?
Okay, the best way to define it from the source material is this. Currently, for every year you live, you lose 1 year of your remaining life expectancy. Aging is constantly ticking down.
Father Time is undefeated.
Right. But longevity escape velocity is the exact point where scientific progress becomes so fast and so advanced that for every year of life you lose to aging, science gains you one back.
So you basically break even.
You break even. The damage your body takes over a 12-month period is fully repaired or mitigated by the medical breakthroughs that happen during those same 12 months.
It is just, I mean, that sounds like immortality.
Well, and that's the nuance we have to clarify. It is not magic immortality.
You can still die.
Yes. Accidents can still happen. If you step in front of a bus or there's a catastrophic event, you will die. But the key is that the probability of dying from the basic wear and tear of aging won't increase year after year.
Your biological clock just stops ticking down.
Effectively, yes.
But if we're living indefinitely and we have nanobots in our heads making us 1,000,000 times smarter, we really have to do a reality check here.
We do.
Because the source material itself acknowledges the skepticism. People look at these predictions and they compare them to Back to the Future Part 2.
The famous flying cars?
Exactly. We were promised flying cars. We got algorithms that make us angry on social media. Technology-driven utopias have a terrible track record. They almost always crumble when they meet actual human nature.
They do. And it's completely valid to look at Kurzweil's vision and say, hold on, humans are messy. We find ways to break things. But the closing point of the source material is what really anchors this whole deep dive.
His track record.
Exactly. Kurzweil saw the trajectory of the internet, of mobile computing, of AI decades before anyone else. He saw this coming. And currently, there is zero empirical evidence to suggest his timeline is off track. The computing power is there. The AI models are hitting the benchmarks.
We are right on the curve.
We are surfing the curve right now.
Which leaves us with a truly staggering thought to end on. Because we've talked about the tech, the economics, the medical breakthroughs, but there is a lingering question posed by the source material that we really need to sit with.
The existential one.
Yeah. If we actually do this, if we merge our minds with artificial intelligence and we stop biologically aging and we live indefinitely, does that fundamentally change the very idea of what it means to be human?
It strips away almost everything we currently use to define ourselves. Mortality, limits, biological isolation.
Right. Are we actually ready to not be unique? If my consciousness is blended with a global network, where do I end and the machine begin? It's something you really have to mull over.
It's the ultimate question for the next 20 years.
It really is. Something for all of you to explore on your own as we watch this timeline unfold. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the 2045 human-AI merger.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime. We'll catch you all on the next one.